What's good, guys? It's Ilson 4K, and I just did a 4.5 hour stream of Dying Light 2. First time I ever played it for 4.5 hours with my community online, and I'm here to give you a quick hot take on what it's like to play it for the first 4.5 hours, because some of the reviews have said that the juices don't get flowing for the first 2 hours, and we're going to talk about that here too. But the whole idea is to wrap this up really quickly to help you decide, should you buy Dying Light 2? And to answer your question, yes. Yes, you should. First and foremost, let's talk about the most obvious thing that we've been staring at since the launch trailer or any announcement for the game in 2019 before COVID came along and wiped everything out, the graphics. The graphics are fantastic. I'm a PC guy, so I'm playing on a 12900K 3090 GPU with a DDR5 RAM. I'm playing on some teched out shit. So I had mine turned all the way up. Ultra 4K settings through the roof. And let me tell you, the game is absolutely immaculate, especially running on Direct 12 software, because it started on Direct 11. And once I jacked it up and the game switched over, because it had to restart from going Direct 11 to Direct 12, it was just beautiful. I mean, landscapes and scenery pop and look so vibrant compared to the first game. But the coolest part about this game, if I had to really, before I go on, and I want you to keep in mind as I talk about this, the game has such a familiar art style to the previous game that the graphics just look even better because they match what you expect 100%. A lot of sequels do get that right, but this one really got it right. All of the scenery, all of the enemies, all of the people are so familiar looking, but with just such an insanely higher resolution and graphical fidelity behind them that you can't help but just be a little bit bewildered by it. But it's kind of easy, of course, to be bewildered by graphics, and we'll talk about everything else. But I just want to hit off what we really were talking about. And what's really interesting is not just my opinions, but again, it was someone in my chat who actually pointed out when they showed you the scene where you get to the top of the city and you look out into the vastness, and the guy says, "This is our city." Even she said, wow, this literally looks like the last game with better graphics and upgraded. It just looks so familiar, the way the sun beams through everything. You remember the previous game had a big, emphasis on like sunlight and natural sun setting and, that Mediterranean-esque area. Same thing here, but 1,000 times better. Speaking of lighting, it's not just sunlight that looks great. The UV light at night that keeps the zombies away also looks fantastic, as well as your flashlight. As one of my streamers pointed out, he said, a really good horror game is defined by its lighting. Lighting is so much in a horror game. I never really thought about it like that, but he was right. He is 100% right. The lighting makes this game. When it's nighttime and I'm out there and I'm running around and I don't have my flashlight on, you literally can't see anything. It is pitch black. I'm talking nothing. Void. But as soon as you turn that light on, you see there's like 14 enemies in front of you. It's just like real life. You don't know what to do, but again, just the way the light hits the enemies, the way it bounces. The enemies themselves are also just beautiful, breathtakingly ugly, and horrifying. I haven't seen any of the higher up ones. I've seen a couple volatiles, but that's really it. I've seen a howler, which has this awesome glowing orange effect to it, and it's so cool. I'm trying to think what else about the graphics that was fantastic. Nighttime, like I said, is great. Daytime looks awesome. The buildings are very, very nicely done. Great little detail work. The foliage is a little strange looking sometimes, but aside from that, everything seems to be fine. Again, I'm talking about the highest of high here on my settings. I hear the console guys have some issues running 4K at 30 frames per second, but I can't speak on that. But I can say from what I've seen, this game is a masterpiece in terms of the visuals. Everybody enjoyed it. All my chat thought it was fantastic. And again, that's really all I have to say about that. Moving onward, let's talk, of course, about gameplay. Gameplay was a big thing because, this is a day one game, and games this big, just like anything, unfortunately, even though we say they shouldn't, do come with some bugs. And I'll be quite honest with you, I had one bug, and that was it. Literally one bug. I killed an enemy, and it went from the dying animation to the standing animation. And then I hit it again, and it went down. And that was it. I had no other problems. Game ran perfectly fine. No glitches, no crashes. I thought I was having a glitch, but it was just me not understanding a mission. Gameplay-wise, for a day one game, fantastic. I haven't had a single problem with it, and we're talking about its original release date of February 4th. I don't know what you guys might have played it on or saw an early review on, but as of February 4th on my PC, great gameplay. Gameplay is just like you remember from Dying Light 1, which is really important because that game was kind of a breakout hit that nobody saw coming because the whole parkour element of added to a zombie game seemed a little excessive, like Tony Hawk Pro Skater-ish vibe for no reason, but it actually worked out great. And in this Dying Light, it works out equally as great. I'm slowly learning new parkour skills. I only think I have like 2, one of which is to have more stamina, and the other one is to make it so that way when I fall, I can roll and take less of damage, as just like in the combat version of the game, you can upgrade affairs. It's an upgrade game. You want to work to make your XP points. Running around and doing parkour makes you gain a parkour points. Doing combat makes you do combat points. On the note of combat, fantastic. I mean, like, I'm at a point where I don't have any weapons, and I'm telling my streamers how awesome the combat system is. I mean, it's really, really fantastic. It's pretty much a one-button affair. It's a lot of parrying and knowing how to bounce off enemies' attacks and building from there, from the limited amount of abilities that I have for what I've been playing. But again, the combat system is equally enjoyable to play and watch for my people that enjoy watching it on the chat that said, yes, it seems like, this is really intensive. Like, there's a huge difference between fighting a person and fighting a zombie. There isn't a one-size-fits-all affair. You got to have your own moves and mentality. On the gameplay side involving the enemies that aren't people that you fight with hand-to-hand combat in terms of fisticuffs, which is humans, zombies are also equally as terrifying and scary as you have your usual batch of daytimers, and you have the nighttime ones, the howlers, as I mentioned, that, they actually howl and attract more zombies to come to you. Their whole purpose is to literally draw more zombies and volatiles and things to you only at night, which is really interesting because at night, of course, that's when you'd be worried about something like that. The chase game is back where you can run around at night and build up your chase level by having more zombies and enemies follow you and aggravating more howlers to make more enemies follow you. And of course, if you can make it back to the point of safety, such as your safe zone, you get to keep all the points for engaging the chase. But more often than not, you'll find this new batch of zombies is actually a little bit slicker than last time, and they don't play around in any mistakes that you really make. So make sure you know your course well and you have your flashlight on, because once that chase starts, there's no turning back. In terms of actually playing the game, in terms of missions and doing things, so far, your atypical zombie game. Nothing too groundbreaking or mind-blowing quite yet. More tutorials than anything else, because as I stated, for the first 2 hours of this game, it's more of a tutorial crash course affair, and then after that, you really get to decide what you want to do. There's also the whole affair of, what's the word I'm looking for? The choices where you can make long-term choices that might have ramifications. I think I've made 1 or 2, and that was an instance where someone asked me something about my past, and I decided instead to inform them about it versus saying, you don't want to know, it's a long story, when we were in a certain area that brought up a memory. I don't want to spoil the storyline. As far as gameplay, again, really, really great game. Only going to get better once I unlock more items and have more things to comment on. Moving forward from there, what else can we talk about? We could talk about the fact that the game actually really is great. I really like it. I mean, I really recommend you guys check it out. I have no qualms with it yet. I don't have any issues. I don't have any bugs. My saves seem to come back. I ran it for 4.5 hours straight with no issues, which is saying a lot. And I really got to say, I think you guys should pick this one up and take a look at it. Read the reviews. I know there were some reviews out there that made it a 7, and I'm not going to lie. If I had to give it a number right now, I want to say it's 8 or 9 out of 10. Rockstar will forever be the king of the open world game, but as far as open world zombie games go, this one is definitely one you guys should check out from my brief interaction with it for 4.5 hours straight. Also, if you want to come and check out anything like that, make sure to check me out on twitch.tv/ilsun4k, and you can come and see all the live streaming I do. I do a lot of release date streams for big things if you want to come and check that out. Live chat's always fun. I got a nice community in there. Thanks again for checking this channel out. Make sure to like and subscribe to the video, and definitely make sure to check out Dying Light 2. Take care, guys. ilsun4k.